Sometimes I catch some heat for doing weird stuff with resin and epoxy. There's so much more you can do with epoxy than just pour river tables. For instance, you can cast 5,000 bullets in a table, or you can literally blow shit up and carve it into a volcano table. Hello, friend. So the first thing we need to do on this build is make a form. We're gonna reuse the platform from the black rifle table because it's already covered in Tyvek, and we gotta cut 2 circles out. So let's get the router and a router jig. Let's make it a rounds.
It's a lot different than a 5-foot circle.
We have the rough outside dimension of what I want the top to be here. So we're gonna pour this with a skirt. So like a, not that kind of skirt. I'm gonna pour it with a 1-inch skirt, and we're gonna pour it with the skirt facing down. So to do so, I'm gonna cut a groove now in order to put the interior wall inside. Just a short groove at 22 inches.
Voila! Part 1.
So to pour this, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna create a skirt that goes around the outside of this, and then a skirt on the whole outside of the whole thing that's 1 inch taller. That way we can get a 1-inch top and our skirts. And to do so, we're gonna use this cardboard sheeting. A little bit of packing tape so that our resin doesn't stick. All right, so this cardboard's too flimsy to pin in, and it's just breaking. So I'm gonna try screwing it in. Because, you know, screw it. We also want to pour a center post. That's 3 by 3 by 3. So we're gonna continue to use the same melamine Tyvek thing and make ourselves a box. The perfect form. So I think I want to run an LED up the center of this because I'm crazy. So I'm going to mount this piece of conduit on the inside and pour around it. So that way I can cut the ends and tap the conduit out. And in theory, it should leave a tunnel for lighting. Who knows? So I'm going to mark the inside of this. And before I put it in, we should cock it. That should be close to center. I'm gonna be carving this post, so none of these measurements actually matter. Even though I do not think this is necessary, I'm gonna tape this thing anyway. When it comes to resin, you can never be too careful. So to make sure that we're getting a seal on this edge here, we're gonna silicone and then screw into it, and then I'll tape it to make sure it doesn't leak. But we don't want any resin getting into the fibrous edge of the melamine here. So this is gonna get a bit squirrely. Splooge is good. It means it's getting a good seal. The mold has dried overnight. The caulking is perfect. It is time to pour. News team assemble. I don't know why I need a news team. Let's do this. All right, we're gonna pour this small box first. We've got these down in the metal shop because we're not gonna be working in here probably anymore this week. And it'll keep it nice and clean so nothing gets in this and it's out of the way. So, brace yourself for epicness. Oh, it's a f***ing hole. Not looking good. Go back to where you belong. Damn it, whose idea was this? Oh, this is my nightmare. We're gonna drain the mold because we're not wasting this much epoxy. And then we're gonna regroup and pour it the way I wanted to initially. This makes me so f***ing mad. I can't, Is it flowing more?
A little bit.
So after almost losing $500+ dull hairs in resin, we're gonna go buy trash cans and see if we can do it with that. But first I got a mask because it's the apocalypse. All right, to the home store. All right, so because we're resourceful and ridiculous, Sam came up with the concept of trying to use trash cans or buckets or something that already exists, which I can't believe we didn't think of before we did all of the terribleness with all the terribleness that exists in the other room. That's a dumpster fire. That's what a dumpster fire looks like. Anyway, so we went and got a bin, and now we have a post here that we put a razor blade on and raised the razor blade up and then spun this around and cut it. Now we're going to cut the interior out of this trash can at the height difference we want for the wall. So this is right now right at 8 inches or slightly under. We're gonna drop it down to 7. Because of the way what this table actually is, I don't need everything to be like perfect and flat and smooth and all that. So we're actually gonna be able to get away with the ridges and all the junk in this because I'm gonna be carving the outside of the table and flattening the top. So be resourceful. That's what you do when you're an idiot and you pour your epoxy.
Make sure you're staying flat.
Now we got tiny trash can. By the way, we got trash can parts here. If anyone's looking, call Sam, not me. So here's the concept, is now we can use these lips. And this is how I originally wanted to do it, but Sam and I literally had an in-depth, no less than like an hour-long conversation about potentially trapping air under the bottom if we did it like this. So we didn't do it like this. And then we realized we don't believe the physics actually works because the water's more dense, so it would force out the less dense air volume. And because it was flat, it has nowhere to get trapped up top. Now we're gonna have that same issue here, but we don't care because it's the bottom. So we've cleaned these up. Now to make sure that they don't float, I'm gonna hot glue these floating aspects. That way it doesn't float out of the bucket. And you'll kind of see the method of this madness here. Hello, dumpster fire. We're back. Unfortunately, for round 2, we're getting a lot smaller. Oh, there's so much resin in that still. Dude, it might weigh 20 pounds. I definitely thought that would leak out.
Oh, there it is.
Who made this mold? This mold is shit. Who made this? All right, so that's the rest of it. That weighs considerably less. Now let's take this thing where it belongs. Go to your home. So we cleaned this sucker out with denatured alcohol. Now let's try pouring. We're gonna pour the bottom in and then stick the top on. So now, see how that wants to float? We need to find where we want it and then I'm gonna hot glue it down. It's already displacing. I think we're gonna have too much resin because it's got so much smaller. I just need something to hold it. Well, do this. I'm assuming it didn't work. Correct. Now we're gonna move to this very intelligent method of putting the resin in. So the hot glue is not holding. We're gonna put a metal plate on the top and that should hold everything down. This is some squirrely shit. We're just hoping that it's level enough that disbursement goes the entire way around. We don't really care because I'm not looking for uniformity because I'm gonna carve the whole outside. That's also why I don't care if it's perfectly vertical and about all the ridges. Good thing, Sam, I only have like 3 liters of a very pricey resin left. All right, kids, we'll see you in 4 days. Ready?
4 to 6 days later.
We are dry, but the metal plate won't come off. So it's hammer time. Oh no, it squished a ton over here. How did we miss that? Nothing like a little trash can peel to start your day. Step one, fold the trash can neatly so your wife doesn't yell at you. Oh. Perfect. It's the exact shape we were going for. Nothing went wrong. It's so thick. But that actually is kind of like cool because we wanted that spew shape, yeah. Primer! I want to get the satisfying like one piece pop, but there's like zero chance. Yeah! Small part of me thought like a little baby bald eagle would fly out. We kind of got a little bit of a benefit on this thin side because of the thicker side has a little more wave in it. So we'll take this, stick the stem out of that box, and then we need to actually flatten this top. All right, so we got the flattening jig set up, propped up. We're gonna just flatten the top. I don't care if it's square, so I've just basically screwed it down to the table. And in an hour or so, we should be done with this.
Flat.
All right, beautiful people. Now that we have a flat top, I need to mount this into that top somehow. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna turn a cylinder and then match it to a big Forstner bit that I have and use that as kind of like a tenon in order to give myself a center because I put a pipe in there. We're gonna screw some blocks on the ends. Now, this is gonna be like an organic shape. Shouldn't really need to be perfectly center or perfectly cylindrical. We're just gonna kind of like stick it in there and mount it and hope everything turns out good. Wish me luck. It's just moving the whole thing around. So that did not go terribly. We've got a 2-inch diameter flat spot here that I can then make a socket for. So let's get these blocks off and cut off, try to get that pipe out. I'm gonna use my metal cutting saw because, you know, conduit's metal. Here. I could. Hey! Damn it! Ah! Oh yeah! Get out! I feel like freaking King Arthur. Ah! Excalibur! Ah! Ow. That sucked. I'm hungry. Let's eat. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, that's good. Huge shout out to Pit Boss for sponsoring this build. Super grateful to have a grill at the shop. Sam and I are loving it. If you guys want to see more from Pit Boss, I got it linked down below. Now, excuse me while I enjoy this plate of meat. All right, kiddos, we're on the drill press. This is a drill press. And this is literally the definition of getting squirrely. It's a bowl of cereal. The cereal just happens to be plastic death. So, now we got a post. When we mount this, we're not gonna mount it yet. What we'll do is I'll cut that tenon down, and then we'll have to have this on a flat and square surface, and then we'll mount this plumb to that flat and square surface, and that should make our table level, or at least not look like it's skewed or anything. But we have to build the volcano explosion for the bottom too still. A lot of work to do. My vision for this table was I wanted it to look like it's got like movement and like goo and junk in it. So I'm gonna carve so it like looks like it's dripping. And I've never done anything like this before, so it's either gonna look like a shitty orange lamp, or it's gonna look pretty cool. We might turn this into a lava lamp. So something like that. Okay, so because I'm tall, my workbench is taller than my outfeed table, we're gonna start down here. I should definitely put a respirator on.
It's got a little more lava vibe to it.
All right. This is messy. No wonder Jacqueline's insane. In order to get some shape in this thing, what we've got here is a die grinder with some of these cool die grinding bits, rotary burrs, bits. They're bits for a die grinder from Kutzall. They're for wood carving. We're gonna use them for resin. They work in a bunch of materials. Pretty cool. Never done this before, so first time's a charm. Wish me luck. All right, so this is going well, minus what I look like. I'm having a blast. This is actually super easy to do and really, really safe. I kid you not, like I've done almost zero power carving before, and we're getting some awesome results. Wouldn't you say, Sam? Sam said yes. So anyway, if you want to get into power carving, I've got all the tools I'm using today linked down below. Definitely check them out. This is awesome. Not sponsored. Just really having a blast. We need to start shaping the shaft. So the shaft here is shafty, and we need to make it a little bit more of a conial shaft instead of a long, straight, hard shaft. So we want to keep this square shape on the bottom in order to impregnate the shaft into the volcano base. Be easier to fit a square. So we can impregnate this shaft into the volcano. I want to keep it a square. It'll be easier to build the blocks around it. But I want it to come out of the top of the volcano in a smaller, like round shape. So we're gonna make a mark somewhere ambiguous down here and then kind of figure out where all of our shafty parts are gonna go and then shape it. Let's go. So this thing is looking awesome. I've probably put 4 or 5 hours into sanding it. Probably needs 40 more sand life. I like the shape. It's going in the perfect direction. And the shaft is also looking pretty good. In order to make it look like it's straight out of Dante's Peak, I don't know if any of you were forced to watch it in middle school, but I was forced to, and it's haunted me ever since. But I don't know if it was like in a good or a bad way. But anyway, Dante's Peak has been on my mind. So to make the volcano for the base, we've got these 4 hunks of pine that I have left over from our timber framing projects that I'm gonna pretty much fabric cobble together in order to carve and then mush around this and then add some accents and obviously light it on fire for aesthetic. So a little bit of joining, some planing, and in a fake glue up, you'll see in a sec, and we'll get the carving. All right, our blocks are dry. Now I need to cut a recess in the center here for this chunk to fit, and then I'll tape them together, carve it, and we'll cut a recess for this to come through. All right, we broke a little bit, but nothing I don't think we can handle. It's like a little house. Tip time, if you want to stick 2 things together and you don't want to use double-sided tape, CA glue, blue tape, and activator. What we're going to do is put the CA glue, pretty decently heavy amount on both sides. This is much, much easier to get apart than double-sided tape. Mush. So the volcano's looking pretty damn good. We're gonna lacquer it up because the char comes off on your fingers, as you can see. So I'm gonna seal that in there, keep it nice and black, and then we'll take it apart and get this thing kind of mocked up, start getting to that like final shape. Let us spray. So we got some LEDs here, and the reason you watched me fart around with that hole earlier was so we could run them up through the center of the leg. Our vision is to see if we can make this thing even cooler with some LEDs. That's kind of neat. I don't like how you can, it's not diffused a ton. Does it look like a Christmas tree? So the thought was kind of like, do I want to run LEDs? How cheesy can I make this look? And not like the delicious, but like the gaudy LEDs and resin concept that can be really well done, that my friends have done. Can we make this work? I just don't know. So our aggro crag looks awesome. Let's get this thing split apart and then mock up this table. See? Oh, that came apart so nice, Sam. We literally were trying to split something apart that we used double-sided tape on a couple weeks ago and sat here for like 45 minutes.
So silly.
It's so silly. Looks like a freaking volcano though. I mean, it's pretty cool. Hair in my eyeball. It almost looks better in a photo. Look at that. I gotta send it to Brad. Let's see what he thinks. So what do you think?
All right, dude, I'm loving the volcano. But what I was thinking, instead of the whole thing being black, what if you went back with a wire wheel and kind of lightened up the base so it looks like it's like burning up at the top, but it hasn't quite burned out to the bottom yet?
That's a solid idea. We're really trying to, like, my struggle is how to get like the changes in color. And I already,
Yes.
that might not be a bad idea. I'm gonna have to get a test piece. I dig it, I love it, dude.
All right, man. Crush it.
Appreciate it, I'll talk to you.
All right, later.
We've got the input from the master of building plywood boxes. Now, do we actually use it? Do we like it how it is, or should I wire wheel it? I don't know, but we do need to glue it together first. So this is in a very rigged up glue up. So this is kind of what Brad was saying, and I think I like it. Kind of just like gradient, darker at the top. It is time to drip some resin down the face of the volcano. We're hoping it shows up. We actually have no idea if it'll like stay orange. We'll see. So my initial inclination is that this is gonna run too much, so I'm gonna have to wait for this to start hardening in the can. We've got the fast hardener that actually says doesn't give us a pot life, but my vision is like just letting it kind of spew down naturally. All right, last thing we need to do is put the top on with some 5-minute epoxy, and then it's time for finish. Sweet game time. Thank you guys so much for checking out this build, and a huge shout out to Pit Boss for sponsoring this one. If you guys like this crazy project, you're gonna love this one that I got queued up for you right here. I'll see you over there.